Welcome to the Reward Builder Quarterly HR Power Hour. Each quarter, we assemble a panel of HR experts to talk about important HR topics and to gain some best practices from one another. I try to identify some trends and honestly to learn from one another. This quarter, we've got a panel of 6 experts from different industries, and we're going to tackle the topic of recruitment. Before we do a quick round robin of introducing all of our panelists, let me introduce myself and my co-moderator. I'm Jody Henson, and I'm with the Reward Builder Business Development Team. And here's my co-moderator, Jen Wakowiak. Jen, if you don't mind, would you please say hello and then introduce the Reward Builder team and our panel of experts. Please go ahead.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jody. I am thrilled to be part of today's discussion today. There is no question that a company's employees are their most valuable asset. An organization with great employees almost always have a healthy bottom line. But all of this starts with recruitment. And through our work with our Reward Builder customers, we know that they've dealt with a myriad of challenges in their hunt for great talent. And today we look forward to learning from them and gaining their perspectives on how they build a great team for their own organizations. But first, let us introduce the Reward Builder team. And as I do, if each of you could say a quick hello and briefly share your role within Reward Builder. We'll start with business development, including myself. My name is Jennifer Wakowiak, and I am on the business development team. Moving on to Vicki Ravenel. Would you mind kicking things off for the rest of the team?
Sure. Thanks, Jen and Jody. So I'm Vicki Ravenel. I'm the VP of Sales for EE Incentives and incredibly honored to lead this team every day. They are incredible, as are our customers, and we thank all of you for being with us today. Fun fact about me, I was in the beach scene in the movie Jaws, and that is true. So I'll just let you ponder on that. Anyway, I'll be shutting off my camera, but I'll see you all at the end and look forward to all the insights that you'll share with us today. So,
Catherine?
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine Folks, and I'm a project manager at EE Incentives and also on the Reward Builder sales team.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Dawn?
Hi, I'm Dawn Richardson. I'm VP of Partnerships and Marketing at EE Incentives and also part of the Reward Builder team.
Great. Thank you. Yvette?
Hi, everyone. My name is Yvette Rios-Nix. I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships and awesome to be part of this Reward Builder team.
Great. Thank you, Yvette. We'll move on to marketing. We've got a great team assembled as well. Holly, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hey, sure. My name is Holly Chastain. I am responsible for any graphic design elements within Reward Builder and our social media accounts.
Fantastic. And our favorite, KJ, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm KJ Mintu. I work on the marketing side too, and make sure that the sales team has the the technology and all the support they need to be able to support you guys. So nice to meet everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, KJ. And we've also asked our Reward Builder support team to join because her and her team support all of you and your employees every day. Melissa, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Melissa Robertson. I'm the customer care manager here at Reward Builder and EE Incentives, and I head up the Reward Builder support team.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Melissa. And just a reminder for the Reward Builder team, you may shut off your cameras and we'll move on to our panelists now. Okay. Perfect. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to learning more from you. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to kick things off with Ashley Gibbs. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Oh, it was in alphabetical order. We started right off.
Hey, that's how we roll.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Gibbs. I am currently the senior HR generalist at Encompass Digital Media in Atlanta, but also over all North America. I'm originally from LA, only been in Atlanta going on 7 months. I've been in the HR industry on accident for 17 years. And a fun fact of me is I am a fancy nail enthused. I don't know if you guys can see my nails.
Ooh,
Can't
I
see,
love
can't see.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So just so that's the fun fact about me. When it's dealing with nails, you'll see anytime we get on here crazy long, I have to have them long. So
I love it. I love it. Well, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. And Lakeisha, since you're sitting right next to her, would you mind introducing yourself?
Of course. I'm Lakeisha Cunningham. I also work at Encompass Digital Media. I am the HR coordinator. Our HR team is new, so I've actually been here since September, so still kind of new. I've only been in the HR industry for about coming up on a year. However, I've been recruiting since about 2008.
Wow.
So
You're a pro.
fun fact about me, my house is divided as far as how we eat meals. One of my kids is vegetarian, my husband is vegan, and then I eat everything.
Love it. Beautiful. My goodness. Well, Ashley and Lakeisha, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. We'll move on to Jennifer Minks. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Jennifer Minks. I am currently the Vice President of Human Resources at a company called Litigation and Management out of Cleveland, Ohio. And we're in the professional service industry in the legal space. I've been in the human resources arena on purpose. Actually, for this will be the 24th year. So definitely found my passion. I'm happy to be in it. Fun fact about me is during the pandemic, my company went entirely remote, which offered my family opportunity to move south and help them. And I've developed a fantastic relationship with my favorite colleague, my cat, his name is Bob. He is quite judgmental, but also very good listener.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Then we'll move on to Jerica Makovica.
Yeah. So I'm Jerica. Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So I'm Jerica Makovica. I work for Brentwood Baptist Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. I am the HR generalist here. I've been with the title of HR for about 4 years, but I worked in clothing retail as a store manager, and you do payroll, recruiting, all of that hands-on for a total of 8 years combined. Fun fact about me is I'm from Nebraska originally, and I love the Cornhuskers. Regardless of how bad we are, we still have the early 1990s. So, and I will never cheer for the Vols or Alabama. So that is where I stand here.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Wonderful. And next we have Sarah George.
Hi, I'm Sarah George. I am the HR director at Youth and Family Alternatives, which is child welfare and prevention in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. I have been in the HR role for a little over 2 years now, but I've been helping out and dabbling in HR for probably about 10 years. And a fun fact about me is I am Florida born and raised. I am a true Floridian, and I was in one of the Super Bowls that was here in Tampa Bay in the halftime show.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How fun.
With New Kids on the Block, mind you, way back in the day.
I love it. I love it. Wonderful. And well, certainly last, but certainly not least, Carol LaRoe, would you mind finishing us off?
Thank you. I'm in New York. I am a senior HR consultant for Shore Software. So we have about 200,000 clients nationally. I and my team, my boss, me and our team, we are HR consultants for everything from subsidiaries of Sony with 11 to 3,000 employees of Southern Healthcare of California. And we consult on every aspect of HR. A little fun fact, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it was fun for me. I've been in HR for probably more decades than I want to really tell you, but let's say 30 years, 3 decades. I got to work in Europe for 5 years, anywhere from 3 to 12 weeks. also accidentally. I think my whole career has been an accident, but it was great. I taught recruiters in Italy and Germany how to bring over expats for UBS and Wells Fargo. So,
Wow.
yeah, the day I got the call, would you like to go? I was like, let me think about it. Yes. And yeah, it was great. Yeah. When the pandemic hit, I had a suitcase by the door. I was supposed to leave 2 days later. It took me like a year to put the suitcase away.
I bet. My goodness. Wow. Well, what a wonderful panelist we have, a panel set up for today. And it was wonderful getting to know each of you. So thank you. With that, Jody, I think we're ready to get started. Let's dive into the topic of recruitment. Would you kick us off?
I'm going to kick us off with the first question, if you don't mind. And we want to kind of start with recruitment strategy. So the question is, how have you had to change your recruitment strategy from what it might have used to have been, based on all of the changes going on out in the marketplace, whether it's a tight labor market or inflation or any regulatory issues, those types of things? We'd really like to hear how you've had to change your recruitment strategies. And Ashley, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with you. If you could just share with us how you've had to pivot or upgrade or change.
Absolutely. Well, here in Encompass, we also have a North America recruiter who is based in Stamford, Connecticut. And so she's been with the company 7 years. And as Lakeisha said, our HR team, which is myself, Lakeisha, and our director, we are all brand new. I just made my 90 days yesterday with the company. Lakeisha has just, so there has been with our company, since we're in digital media, in the positions we have, which is master control operators and things of that nature. What we were told since the pandemic has been major turnover. In the recruitment, it was basically like, we need bodies, the clients need bodies, let's bring them in. And although that sounds good in retrospect, it turns with the retention and everything. So we have developed a great rapport with Anne because she's the only recruiter for North America. So we've come in with our experience and we're like, hey, we see what you're doing. We like that, but how about let's try this? So I think we've tried a couple of things since starting with Anne, to really is where we are changing the way of what we're targeting, how we're targeting, what we're looking for. Definitely looking for those who are teachable per se than someone who may have experience in it, because this is not a school talk type of position. So our recruiting has actually done good. We did a career fair in January, which was the first career fair for the company. And so doing things of that nature to bring to like, hey, instead of the talent coming to us per se, we went to look out so we can bring them in. So since that, we've been doing pretty good with recruitment and just sticking. And right now it's just like, okay, that works. Fine tuning, shall I say. We're fine tuning everything. So that's where we're at now as a company.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Since we're together, I'll go ahead and add also. I noticed, like I said, I was here a little bit before Ashley. I noticed that whenever I came in, the qualifications for our main position, master control operator, it required a degree. So I actually had to go back and talk to the person that wrote the job descriptions to say like, hey, do we really need this? Because we're missing out on great talent because they say, oh, I don't have a degree, so I can't apply here. That's not true. So like Ashley said, right now we're looking for people that are teachable, that they have the drive, they're flexible, and they know when they come in that you have to have a flexible schedule. Like the small things like that, those things add up. And in the end, like these create great employees. So we can not only have great employees, but we can take them and develop a career path for them.
Absolutely.
So they'll do very well with the company.
Wow. So you started with the job descriptions. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what have you had to change or do differently in your strategy?
Two things came to mind immediately in that. The first is we built efficiencies into the process because, as you know, people were flying off the market. And if you weren't taking advantage of the individuals and really easy ways for them to apply and to come in the grocery. So we looked at different automations and, you know, reducing parts of the process that we previously had. We're highly selective, just like probably everybody on this call. And we wanted to choose the best, but we had to think very strategically about how to do that. The second thing that came to mind was we really had to differentiate ourselves from other employers. And what we could capitalize on is many did through the pandemic, but we remain remote-based working environment. So we highlighted the fact that we provide flexibility and time and opportunity within the organization. We know those are really important key terms that applicants are looking for. So we made sure that we were differentiating ourselves and, you know.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sarah, jump in. We'd like to hear what you've had to do.
So in our field here, it's a very niche and specific field of child welfare. You have to have a specific degree or experience in order to qualify for the position. So what we've had to do is make ourselves stand apart from the other agencies that are like us, building up our culture, wanting people to want to work for YFA. So we've actually started doing a lot through our social media and promoting those feel-good stories of what it's like to be a case manager or to work in one of our shelters. And then we try to pair that with we're hiring, come work for us. So that way we're trying to grasp them with these feel-good stories of you can make a huge difference in the world and in the lives of these children we're serving, and come and work for us.
So some strong storytelling.
That's really interesting.
Awesome. That's very interesting. Jerica, tell us what you've got.
Sorry if I was looking away. I was actually pulling up one of our recruiting sites to kind of walk through it. So I've only been with the church for a little, almost 2 years. And recruiting for a church is completely different. It's not typical versus what I'm used to. So some of the things that for like strategy purposes, we really focus on benefits and culture, making it flexible, benefits package that that even just somebody who's coming into our business as an administrative fulfills the needs. So for example, we cover all of our premiums for the individual. And so that is great. For our ministers, it's a little bit different as well. Because we cover it for the whole family. So just making sure that we are truly serving our employees, even though maybe the salary amount might not be as high, but taking care of them in the back end. It's one of the best benefits I've ever received, working from small retail all the way up to, Lowe's to small clothing. It's the best benefits package I've probably had. So taking care of them on the back end, maybe not necessarily on the front end. We've also created a residency program. So for ministers, or I pulled it up. So if you're in ministry residence program, it's a 2-year ministry experience that equips and encourages and engages new leaders to be able to eventually go out into the field. So bringing people or new ministers from seminary who've just graduated and building them and guiding them and equipping them for their next step, whether that's with us or another church, so that it's kind of a preempt to before. But yes, we're just learning to also make adjustments. Like I said, recruiting in a church is a word by mouth. A lot of it can be voluntary. It could be interim, like setting to move to full time. We are one of the biggest churches in Tennessee. So just making sure that we are truly equipping our people on the back end, because ministry is way different than normal sales or what your budget is. You don't have something that you're selling in order to bring profit. So,
right.
Very different perspective.
Yeah.
Carol, you're around recruiting issues all day long. Tell us what you're having.
I am, and I still own a recruiting company for a long time. I just sold it before I came here, actually. So a couple of things, and we, as I said, we have such a diverse population of clients, right? All different types, and recruiting strategies is something that we provide. And I'll give you an example. I have quite a few healthcare hospitals. They do in-home. Nurses are right now, as you know, very, very difficult areas. So we really had to help them think out of the box as to we had to go out and sort of survey the landscape. What are you looking for? What's missing? And what we started to find out is that these nurses that were working in the home or in other people's homes, going into their insertion into people's homes, especially in the city areas, very, very difficult to get around. So we helped them put together a program of using drivers, Ubers, Lyfts, things like that. And it's really been a very prolific plan in that it's brought a tremendous amount of people. Additionally, we then took that plan and that story. So they have drivers that will pick them up in the morning. Now they're not schlepping all their stuff into a subway, getting on a bus, blah, 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 take them. They're actually getting more appointments in throughout the day, and they're certainly safer. And they are telling their friends. So that is, instead of throwing out a net and dragging people to you, you have people coming towards you like a magnet. And that's been important. And then alternative means of recruiting, instead of job posting, Indeed, which is getting crazy expensive, and LinkedIn and so forth, doing things like identifying people within the environment who are experts, subject matter experts. It could be in IT, it could be in accounting. It doesn't always have to be just in the nursing area, but even in that, bringing them out to their study groups, finding associations and putting them in as guest speakers, as subject matter experts, really helps you reach a group of people who are passive candidates, who may not have been looking, who don't have resumes, they're not shopping on Indeed. And that type of person, when you get them, there's some really good retention there. And as somebody who owns a recruiting company, I have to say, good retention starts with the right recruiting. Can't have one without the other. That's it.
Yeah. Very true. Very, very true.
Marshall.
6 very different tactics, which is outstanding. Jen, I think you had a follow-up from the strategy perspective that you wanted to ask.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as Joe just said, this was very interesting to hear all different industries and different perspectives and things that you're doing. I love that Ashley and Lakeisha are doing things more with, put away the degree. I mean, that does matter, but in some instances, really it comes down to the person and being able to find the right person for the right role. And that is amazing, that you're developing that talent internally. That's wonderful. And to hear from Jennifer and talking about just differentiating yourself from your competitors. I honestly, that really stuck with me. I think that I'd love to hear, I mean, every one of you have competitors in some way. What are you seeing your competitors doing? And are you maybe starting to have to shift some of your own strategies to compete for that talent? Maybe would anyone like to kick things off there? I don't know if you want to elaborate on what you had been doing more or.
Well, and let me just throw this down. Not only, so we talked about how we changed our recruitment strategies, and that's just because there's a tight market, we need bodies, but now how do you compete with your competitors and get those best candidates? I'd really like to hear that as well. Good one, good point. Let's kick it off with Sarah. Sarah, we want to hear.
So our field is very competitive because, like I said, it's a very niched field. You have to have a specific degree to do it. So there's so many like us because we are state funded and state regulated. We have to try to set ourselves apart with what we can offer our employees. So starting with salary, we try to be as competitive as we can with the salary within, the guidelines that we have being state funded. But in addition to that, the offers that we can give them, like PTO, holidays, tuition reimbursement, career growth, career opportunity and development, and stuff like that, that those other companies may not have or may not be able to give them as much of. We want our employees to stay with us and to grow with us. That's our big thing, is come grow with us so you can build your career and go up the ladder or develop, educationally, whatever it may be with our organization.
Jennifer, tell us your perspective if you're having to do something different than your competitors.
We do, and we saw a lot of our competitors. For us, our competitors are attracting others to work from home. Some who are in call center type environments, and others who are just a lot of events analysts, who review records, all of the units.
Jennifer, can I ask you to speak a little closer to your microphone,
Sure,
please?
absolutely. Can you hear me better?
I think so. Keep going.
Okay. And
Much better.
Much
okay,
better.
good. So a lot of the people who we recruit are call center type individuals and nurse analysts and non-traditional legal professionals, lawyers who aren't practicing. And our competition was offering sign-on bonuses, and they were bringing up to get them in the door and promising a lot of different things. And so we chose to focus on the culture and who we are and differentiate ourselves about what it is that makes us different, how we're going to engage you, provide you with opportunity, how we're going to connect you to the vision and allow you to feel part of the organization. So we chose not to compete with the money that perhaps is being thrown in some ways, but instead in long-term success, like Sarah said, invest in the person so that they can grow.
Wow. Okay, great.
Great.
Jerica, anything to add?
Yeah, so ours, like I said, ours is a little bit different. So things that we are doing are building culture. So right now we're creating a culture survey. We've done it for a couple of years, but how can we invest back into our people? So we do succession planning. We open it up for career growth. So something I've never had that I got to experience is I walked in, and within the first year of employment, they helped me get SHRM certified. And so, you know, I worked for a public company, and it was different. They didn't really care about investing. It was on my own dime and on myself. And the church is willing, if you are doing professional growth, they're willing to budget it in for you to grow whatever field you're in. Another thing that we do is we do a lot of testing for like spiritual gifts, right? We want to make sure that people are truly in their correct role. And being in a church, you think a lot about it as ministry, but we do have a lot of administrative roles. So making sure that those who are applying for administrative roles truly understand this is an administrative role and not necessarily ministry, because we don't want to set up any individual that we hire to fail, because so many people want to give and give back and be a part of the change, but there's got to be some form, like a person in the front to be able to be that guard, that filter, the person who manages it, so that it all can run smoothly. And so making sure that when people apply, that they are truly, even though they could be the best person, they could be great, they are ministry minded and they have that experience in that ministry, making sure specifically in administrative roles that they are able to have an administrative background and not setting them up for success. That's been helpful with our strategy, because we've had to kind of take a step back and really say administration was not in their top 5. And so even though they're a great person and we want them on our team, we don't feel like it's the best option to put them in this role, but here's another role that they might fit, or here's another church that we're affiliated with that might fit with them. It's kind of a team thing. And so making sure that we are not bringing somebody in order for them to fail, because as we all know, as soon as we bring somebody in, we're fully investing in them. And so the longer that position is off, or we're having to search for somebody who actually makes sense, costs money. And so we just want to make sure that we're not setting up any new potential hire to fail. We want them to be successful in our roles.
Wow. That's amazing.
Ashley and Lakeisha, how are you guys, going against your competition?
Oh, well, being in digital media, our competition, especially here in Atlanta, are Turner Broadcasting and Discovery, and
Just these little guys.
Yeah, so I know you all heard of them. But being the smaller company, we understand. First, we acknowledge where we cannot probably help, and with those big companies, big salaries come. So we had to really come and say, okay, so what separates Encompass from that? If we can't do that, where can we? So that's where we come in, as the previous ladies have stated, is changing the culture. And what can we do and what can we bring? Even us being a new team, just our personalities, we're in the hubs. We're in their pods. So they're not used to HR being there. We're like, what are you doing? How do you doing? Went through the training to see what MCOs did. So what are you doing? How do you do and everything? So we're coming in to see like, well, what can we do? What can we do to make it like, what do you like about here? What brought you to Encompass? What makes you stay here at Encompass? And what can we continue to do or do? So there's little things that we've done where even we came at 5 a.m. before Christmas and just had our Santa hats on, cart for each, because we have it's a 24/7 business environment. So we want to make sure that no one felt left out. Where versus the overnight staff will always be like, well, hey, first and second shift always gets this. And so we were like, well, here we are. So first they were kind of like, why is HR here this early? Who are you? What are you doing? So we did that. And then we did a cocoa bar for the same thing, came at 4:30 in the morning, set it up. And this was just our thank you. Like, we are, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be us. We wouldn't have this position. We wouldn't be here. And we're very grateful and thankful because we also understand a lot of people work on holidays, they have to take care of. And so being in the positions we are in HR, they might look at it like, well, you're 9 to 5, y'all do whatever y'all, you know. So it's appreciation, showing appreciation, letting them know, asking them, what can we do to support you? We're not here to just sit up here and terminate and do that. What can we do? If your goal is as an MCO to become a manager or supervisor, what do we need to do to get you there? So it starts, so we just, where we can do things and make a difference, that's what we're doing. And
yeah, just to add to that, like Ashley said, the culture around here, the employees and environment, they're not used to seeing us. So we're not the ones to sit behind the desk. Like we never really go out and we talk to them at least once or twice a week. And just in a few months, like they've noticed that our GM has came to us like the talk around the hall is changing. Like people know who they know who HR is. We're in the building 5 days a week and not working from home. Like we physically come here so we can show our face. So when we do those things, not only are we listening, like we take them back to our drawing board. Like, okay, this employee said, hey, can we do a town hall? Take that back to our drawing board. We're going to implement that. And we will update you, whenever we figure out when we're going to implement this. Or like our females, our gym is outside. The females were scared to walk outside for third shift. Now we're bringing the gym inside. So it's just a matter of listening to employees, listening to what they want. So no, HR can't, we may not be able to increase your salary, but we hear you. Same thing with the managers. Like we had an employee that he was on leave of absence, wasn't able to come back. And the employee we didn't know he quit. So now we have this body sitting on his roster for 9 months and it's just taking up a spot. And it was just a matter of us going to the manager and say, hey, what do you have going on?
What's going on? Let us know.
So that at this point, like a lot of people know like food is a pacifier, just keep you, but at the same time, it shows our appreciation. Like we can't give you money, but let's do this event.
We can, but the thing also to not take away from like Turner, everything's great, but being in a smaller one now, even though we have about 600 employees, with my mind, I can remember names and faces, but it's the fact that we are personable, not trying like, I don't know what they do over there. I'm not going to say anything about anything, but just that what we are insensitive, like, hey, you want one-on-one HR, you want an HR team that knows you by name, knows what's going on with your knows. Stay here, you're at the right place. We can't promise anything over there, but we just want to change the culture, and we just want to make sure to let them know that they can succeed here. But if not there, and also if we have to help them get to, if they want to, maybe I want to be at Turner, not taking away, but let us either be your final destination or let us be the ones that help you to get to where you go. You can, like all the other ladies said, so you can succeed. We want to set you up to succeed, whether it's with us or somewhere else.
So what I'm hearing is you guys go all in on the feedback. totally, right? And you
absolutely.
walk the walk and talk the talk on feedback so they feel heard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we know how it feels. We were before HR for a lot of us or anything, we were the employees. When I started on accident with HR, I did not like HR. I didn't like the HR team. I didn't care. All I thought you did was sit behind the desk
Somebody on
and
the
hire
panel
and
has
fire.
lived
Yes.
that.
Yeah. But being on that opposite end also helps to be like, okay, I know how it feels to not be heard. I know how it feels to have an HR team, or lack of better word, that did not help, that did not hear the concerns, that did not put actions or solutions. So I've always wanted to be, and then us having the director that we have, who is our mentor, who has become our mentor, it feels good to be a part of that and just be like, okay, well, we built that rapport, and just being able to have that real and rawness. So that helps a lot too with it. So.
That's great. That's awesome. Carol, please weigh in on this one too.
All of the above. So all of that. But I will tell you that from owning a recruiting company put me in a bird's eye type of different position, because I got the real deal as to why people were leaving. And, you could do all the exit interviews in the world. When they talk to the recruiter, who's the outside person of has nothing to do with the company, you're really finding out why somebody's leaving their positions. Most times, 9 times out of 10, money is not in the first top 2 or 3. It is usually a feeling of being disrespected, not heard, and where does that really come from? That starts with your direct supervisor and manager. So in our world, what we're doing with our clients is really looking at who is managing who, making sure that their methods of communication are appropriate, using things like DISC training. We have certified people for that. And to really get in there and help people understand how this personality type communicates with this personality type, because you could have the best product in the world, you could pay them all the money in the world, but if that person that manages them makes them feel less than, or unheard, or disrespected, they're out. And one of the ways to do that, to make sure that doesn't even put a safety net in, is to give people, particularly in the recruiting stage, make that career path part of your attraction plan. So when you're speaking to somebody and you're talking about a nurse, nurses can make overtime, but the only way they go up in salary is by extra education. So where do you want to be? Before you start with us, where do you want to be in 5 years? Gee, we have 10 of those people on staff. Let's tell you who your mentor is going to be. Let's talk about a career path. You could be in sales. Yeah, I sell things that are at this level. I want to sell things that are at that level. Let's get you somebody who is at that level and help them mentor you. And then put a very structured, specific, accountable, measurable, trackable plan in place. John Jones is going to be your mentor. You're going to meet with him on day 1. You're going to meet again with him on the second week, then every other week. And what's going to happen in those is you're going to talk about education, you're going to talk about experience, you're going to talk about who in the company you have to connect with, what are the networking opportunities outside of this. So it is, people come to you not just for the job at the moment, they come to you for where you're going to bring them down the road. It's about the future.
It was so important. I'm so glad you shared that. That's such a great nugget. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
go ahead, Jen.
This is an amazing conversation. It's so funny because going into this conversation today, I was thinking, not working actually in HR, but with HR leaders, that salary was going to be at the top of this list of recruitment. And in my mind, I thought that was going to be probably very, very high. And I'm sure it still is. But after listening to each of you and each of your different industries, it's just, I'm finding that it really just come down to the culture, and it comes down to that continuing education and all those other ancillary benefits that really set your company apart from your competitors. And this is just exciting. What comes to my mind is, we here at Reward Builder think a lot about just making sure that every demographic of your employee population is seen and heard and feels like they're receiving meaningful benefits and such too. Are you finding these different benefits? Are you finding that there's variations based on demographics of your employees? For instance, age or sex, whatever that might be. Is there a difference in what they're looking for, or what you're hearing from them when it comes down to what's important to them? I don't know who wants to kick me. Sarah, I will start with you since you're right in the middle of the screen.
Sure. So our demographics are a majority female within our company, and a lot of our demographics are younger generation. So in regards to the younger generation, flexibility is huge. They don't necessarily care about benefits because they may still be on their parents' benefits, even though that's an important part of, your career and all of that. So having the flexibility with those new employees as they come out of college and they're starting their career, and really just helping them and guiding them as to like what they need for their career with us. They want to know about PTO and vacations and stuff like that, the things that will benefit them as well. But we also want them to have the means to do what they need to do within their career to grow, since it is such a young demographic. I know coming out of college, even though I worked during college, when I started my career, I was like, this is way different. So just having the tools and the little toolbox for them to have that is a big benefit.
Wonderful. Wow, I hear you. Let's go to Jennifer Minks. Would you mind just highlighting maybe what some variations in your demographics might be looking for?
Sure. I was thinking while we were talking, I don't.
A little bit closer.
I was thinking while we were talking, I don't know if it goes across demographic lines as much as personality. And as we know, everybody is motivated by something differently. Would you like me to? Are you having trouble hearing?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. People are motivated by different things. So we do a lot of surveys and really break down the data and look at the different motivations. There are some people who really come to work because they need connection. There are some people who come to work because they want to learn. There's some people who come to work because they really just want to get the job done and go home. So we try to offer different benefits and opportunities according to each individual. Does it go across demographic lines? I'm sure it does in terms of like there's some different ages of workers. We also are primarily female organization. And so you do have a lot of benefits that I think, it probably caters to that demographic a little more. But I think really getting down to what motivates you, what satisfies you, is really spend more dollars.
No, that's very true. And that's hard to find. I think you don't really know until you survey your employees. Unless you really know them very closely. Very good.
I was talking to one of our Reward Builder customers who they had been challenged with an unbelievable recruitment requirement. And so one of the things that they had to do was go internally and ask their employees to start recommending and making some referrals. But their employees they were okay to do that, but they did offer them some bonuses like the Reward Builder certificates. I'm just curious if you're seeing any that type of a demand from your market, if you will, and is that helping if you are rewarding your employees? Are they demanding that or requesting, or is that even a carrot for them? I'm curious if that's helping a little bit.
So in our organization, I did some recruitment research, and the top recruitment strategy is word of mouth, referrals. So what we do is I send out an email internally monthly of all of our open positions. And in that, we do offer a referral bonus to our employees who refer somebody and they're hired and they stay with us for 6 months. So there's no limit. You can refer as many people as you want, because if you're working for an organization and you recommend somebody to come and work for that organization, they're more than likely going to want to apply, because you wouldn't recommend somebody to come work at a horrible company that you hate.
Right.
So we try to really promote that, because that was one of the #1 recruitment strategies out there, is word of mouth and referrals. So we do promote it. We do offer that reward if you do refer somebody.
Right. I'm glad to know that's working.
Wonderful.
Jerica,
Can I go back to Jen's question about like age demographic?
Yeah, sure.
So, because we don't do rewards. So, but I wrote a couple things down that we offer based off of the needs of demographic. Our biggest thing is our employees want to be part of the decision making, or they want to know why we're making the decisions we are making. And I think it's hard, especially if you're in a public company, private, for the top to make decisions based off of the bottom. They're making decisions for the bottom, but not with, right? And so some things that we do that we started changing are staff meetings. Used to be people in supervisory roles, minister roles. We started allowing everybody to be a part of it. It didn't matter if you were a coordinator, it didn't matter if you were an admin, so that you knew exactly and we have it every week, what is going on through the week, why we're doing things, what our marketing strategy is, where you're going to see it, what's happening for Easter, what's happening for this service, what's happening in the process of our senior pastor leaving, how are we hiring for a new one to run 9 campuses, what does that look like, and how can you be involved? What questions, giving them the ability to ask questions, and to leaders, right? And leaders giving the feedback, having a panel available. We have a resource staff team meeting, or a staff team that makes a lot of the ultimate decisions for higher positions here at the church. And they came in on our quarterly staff meeting and allowed people to ask questions, and we're able to answer. They're like, we can't give you all the details. There's things that we don't know, and I'm going to tell you we don't know, or there's things that we can't necessarily share yet, but we'll do our best to answer the questions that you have, and gave us a platform, and everybody a platform. It didn't matter, to talk at all 9 campuses. Like, we brought all 9 campuses together. That's a little bit over like 200 people. So giving people the ability to speak and ask questions. We also put that in our culture surveys as well. And that's one of our biggest thing is we don't feel we want to be a part of the decision making, or at least understand the reasons why behind it before it launches to the congregation or to the public.
That is so compelling. Imagine trying to recruit someone and saying, one of the things that we really believe in is having you participate in decision making. Imagine how that would make you feel as an applicant. Oh my gosh, that's a really powerful tool. Very powerful.
Right.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Carol. Go ahead.
So one of the things is I'm listening because we do tons of surveys, of course, all different types of companies, small companies, big companies, all different. And coming from my own HR, the HR director of the largest company outside of New York, Publishers Clearinghouse for a long time, MetLife, big companies. One of the things that I found that crossed ageism, right, from I'm a 65-year-old grandma and to people just coming out of college, you would think there's a big divide. One of the things, 2 things that really came across, particularly in today's newer, younger people coming in, everybody, is social consciousness and socializing. 2 different socializing. So one of the things that I really found very effective across companies is to you want to do socializing, but you want to do it in a way that's productive and not very expensive, productive for the company and for the environment. And one of the best ways to do that is to get cross-functioning per departments, right? So you want to take the CEO and you want him on a bowling team with the receptionist and the guy from marketing and so forth and so on, because people start to now say hello in the halls. They say they start to understand things about each other. They are not afraid to bring an idea to somebody over here or in a different department. And if you're part of the environment, the ideas that are coming from you are usually good and useful. But more than that, you're bonding with people, and bonds keep people and they keep retention, and they bring in even better hires. So on the socializing, it was really important. I mean, I was a 65-year-old, 60 at that time, grandma kind of by myself. Yeah, I really wanted to go to things that were going to be twice a week after work. But then yeah, lots of young people coming out of a pandemic, they've been very isolated. So yeah, they even still might work from home, but how nice that they're on a tennis team or they're on a softball team and they're talking to somebody they never would have met. And, we're doing all staff breakfasts and you're sitting next to the guy that runs the elevator, but you're in charge of IT. It's just such a great opportunity to cross-function people throughout the company and make good bonds. And then there's the social consciousness side of it. I have a company, it's TELUS International, like the AT&T of Canada. But one of the things that they did that I thought was great was they really got involved with Habitat for Humanity. They're a national company, it's national, but this is like when you go to their page and you look for career stuff, you don't even get to that. Like you got to go through this to get to that. And it's by the time you get to it, like, yeah, I want to build a house, but you may never have had the opportunity to do that. But it's the way that they do it and how it brings people together. But the other thing that I'm seeing is the social consciousness of our time is rising. So people want to be a part of a company, an organization that gives back. And they find ways to do that. And by the way, I just had a discussion today, Jody. I have a referral for you for a company that's a big startup and big startup, they got money. And one of the things that I talked about your cards and the gifts and stuff. They said, gee, wouldn't it be great if we could use them to bring to the food pantries and to some of the shelters and we could somehow and I thought, well, what a great opportunity that is, and for a different way for it to be used. So
yeah, it's very compelling. You're right. And who doesn't want to be a part of that? And that definitely can be done for sure.
And sometimes they have that, I didn't like that where if I give $100, you give $100. All right. But I really, when I was in a company and they said, if you have something, and you got to be careful because it can't be political and stuff, that you're interested to bring it to us. And I ended up being a chairperson, American Heart Association, because I brought that to MetLife as an employer and said, what do you think? And they said, yeah, we'll get involved. And we actually connected them with Mehmet Oz. And that's how they had their biggest luncheon. And it was simply because somebody asked me, do you have something that you're passionate about? And
wow,
it worked well.
Let's keep moving forward because boy, this should be a 2-hour power hour.
It's just, yeah, this is wonderful.
Jen, tell me what's next on your list as far as the question that you wanted to pose to the panel.
Well, let's see here. We actually have a question coming in from the Reward Builder team. It's actually from Catherine. So, we're really interested. This is wonderful, just talking about company culture and everything else that you're doing for your employees to recruit your talent. But what about recruiting remote workers? How do you promote and maintain a consistent culture in your remote workforces? Now, that may not apply to all of you, but those of you that do have remote workforces, is there, how are you handling that group of individuals? I don't know who would want to tackle that. Jennifer, I don't know if you said you had some remote. Yeah, if you could take that one, that would be great to kick us off.
Yes, indeed. So we, as I said, are 99% remote. So we deployed hundreds of people, like probably everybody here, very quickly and figured out how to keep working. And then we spent a lot of time figuring out how to remain together. And so the bigger thing we did is, number one, communication. You can never communicate enough, right? Human resources, we know that. And so you've got to find tools and ways to do it much different from what we were used to. We used to, take a walk to the lunchroom and have an opportunity to connect and do some of the cross-functional things that Carol was saying. I agree with completely. We used to have softball teams and participate in lots of after work activities, and now we live all over the United States. So finding technological ways to connect, finding things in common. One of our employees' favorite things is to talk about or send photos of our pets and our planet.
We know that works.
Yes.
And for Employee Appreciation Day, thanks to Reward Builder, we are sharing lunch on us. We used to bring in cake
I love it.
and allow everybody to dine together. We're no longer together, but we can still dine. And we encourage everybody to take a photo of their food. You know, everybody loves to take pictures of their food.
I love it.
And share and talk about what you did, and stay connected that way. So it's a challenge, no doubt about it. It's also, and I think it's the flexibility of rewarding and pays off as long as you can stay.
I love it. I love it. You know, being a remote employee myself, I feel that. You sometimes feel a little disconnected, but being able to be part of that group and that culture is so so valuable and so important. Anyone else want to add to remote workforce and how you might be keeping them part of your culture?
We have a big remote. This is more what I've learned as being part of this remote company. My boss, Mary Simmons, has a line that I like to use when she recruited me. She said to me, "Come on, don't you want to work in your fuzzy slippers every day?" I was like, "Yeah." So, but it can be lonely. So she's like a whiz at this, and I've now taken that to our clients. And one of the things that the team has done, and I really got to tell you, this team is very connected. I was just on a call before this. We have committees that everybody's a part of, like the welcome committee. We make sure, my job is to send out a pre-start welcome letter to somebody and just tell them a little bit about who's going to be their mentor and their pal and all that stuff. But she also has different people are responsible for creating a coffee. See, I'm from New York, coffee, clutch. We have like one a day at different times. So people could be 3 o'clock on Monday, you'll have 6 people in it. And everybody shows up with their coffee, and it could be 15, 20 minutes, but you're talking to people all of them. And Wednesdays is different. I probably get in 2 a week, but when I miss them, I really miss them. And they're fun. And we don't really talk about, every once in a while, we'll talk about work, a lot of cats. I have grandchildren, everybody's got their thing. So, but you find out things about people you work with that you wouldn't normally know. And there's that bonding opportunity. The other thing that we do is how are you going to have a holiday party with all of us all over the place? We have, I hate to say it, the younger people really, really great at this. They make the Wheel of Fortune game and we win prizes and, but she makes it fun. And we also have, and this really helps, we have an ongoing chat all day long. It could be like the HR team, like technical stuff. I need help with this. I need help with that. And I'll go in at night and just read through them sometimes just to see what did somebody have a problem with and who helped them and how did they figure that out. And then we have the fun one where if you want to throw up pictures of my new grandbabies or pictures of somebody's cat or whatever, they put it in there. It's just so interesting to see how it keeps people connected. But she uses it in recruiting. She will show it to, and everybody knows, we're all appropriate HR people, so everything's okay. But she'll show it to people, and it's in real time, and they could see how connected they are. But one thing I just have to say that I have found not only here but in our clients across the country is to really know going in the best that you can if somebody really can work from home, because if they truly start to feel very lonely, disconnected, they could become depressed. We really have to keep an eye for that. And you've got to uncover that in the recruiting process. You've got to see, do they show up? I didn't even know, like there's lists of it. Did they show up on time? Are they prepared? Different ways within the recruiting process. But I can tell you, as a lot of my clients are living through, they're having some really mental health issues with people who are working from home, and you have to, it's not recruiting, but they really have to keep an eye for it. And you've got your responsibility. You got to watch.
Absolutely.
So then you really have to know how to recruit for that, which is so, so important. Yeah. We are getting short on time. I want to throw this out. Does anybody have any comments that they'd like to make before we wrap up? I've slowly made some notes throughout this. I've gotten some really great nuggets. You guys are just amazing. But anybody have any comments? Look at Sarah. And Ashley and Lakeisha, you've been quiet for like a few minutes.
Yeah. Now, I mean, wonder if any of you have, I mean, if you're taking notes yourself, have you learned from each other? I mean, maybe there's something that you can take. Oh, look at that. I love it. I love it. That right there is one of the goals of this meeting, is to be able to bring our Reward Builder customers together and have you learn from each other. So that makes me happy. Jody, I'm sure I don't need to speak for you.
Oh, absolutely. This is, we got so many good nuggets. Like I said before, I'm so excited about that. We can't wait to share it with the rest of the world. I do want to, Jericho, were you
Yeah, I just have a question for people who have multiple locations. How do you get your multiple locations involved together, right? So if you have a place in Michigan and you have a place in North Carolina, you have a place in Texas, right? I mean, each campus, right? Each location has a way to make that a team, but how do you find a way to unite all of them together? And what are things that you do? And if none of you know how to do that, that's okay. I would just
You know what, Jerica, that is such a great question. And what I would really like to do is to maybe highlight that question and throw it out on LinkedIn, because I think you're going to get flooded with answers for sure. Yeah. The other thing, all of you now know each other, and I would certainly encourage you to reach out and connect with one another, because you've already heard some really great things that you can learn from one another, obviously. So I would, Jerica, I would definitely say reach out to these folks, and we will try to reach out on LinkedIn for you as well. And now I'm afraid you might get flooded with a million answers, but hey, that's not.
We would love to answer that for you, hun, because we have North America, but they're also global too. So, but North America, we would love to share some ideas.
I mean, we'll make sure that all of you have each other's emails or addresses after this is over as well, so you can share. No.
Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and get wrapped up here, but I did want to mention this recording will be out on LinkedIn. And for anyone who's watching this recording, we are preparing for our next quarter's Power Hour already. If you would like to be a featured panelist, please reach out to us at Reward Builder and let us know. And we'll see which one of our topics would be the best for you to slot you in, because we are really, really excited. We love harnessing the general intellectual minefield of good stuff that you guys bring to the table. And we thank you for all the hard work you do for employees everywhere. That's so, if we didn't have employees, we wouldn't have businesses, quite frankly. So anyway, we want to thank you for that. And before we wrap up, Vicki Ravenel, would you like to jump back in as well? Thank you.
I'm jumping in and I am breathless. It was so hard being off camera because I wanted to just jump in and start asking questions, but what an incredible group and what incredible information. I love so much of what I heard, and it was just so interesting to me to realize that salary is not driving decisions in terms of employees making a decision as to what company to join, and it's culture, it's being heard, it's all the ancillary benefits, it's continuing education, it's all those wonderful things that all of you are doing. And Carol, I especially loved the interdepartmental networking and getting together and getting to know people. We're very fortunate in that we have a fairly small team and we're very close. Many of us have worked together for 20 years. We've been together a long time. And so we kind of know everything there is to know about each other, but we still do all of those things. We have team chat. Whenever we have our weekly meeting, we often share personal information. Some of us are moms, some of us are grandmoms, some of us are single and seeking a significant other. And it binds your team when you are able to share that kind of information.
So thank you to all of our panelists. And we're going to wrap up the recording right now. So thank you again. And wait till next quarter when we have our next Power Hour. We look forward to seeing you.